everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today, to make this raffia crochet pleated bag, I'm going to be using some Wool and the Gang ra-ra-raffia yarn, and this is in the color Desert Palm. I'm also going to be using a 4.5mm hook, and I'm going to be putting some pearls on my bag. And I haven't yet made a bag, but I think that this is going to look so good. You'll also need some scissors or something to cut the yarn with, and you will also need a stitch marker. By the way, I burnt myself, so if you see that throughout the video, just ignore it. Okay, so I'm going to first show you my idea for the bag. And this is very easy. If you are a beginner, you can definitely do this. All it takes is single crochet stitches. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a chain of 24 stitches, and then I'm going to single crochet all the way till the end, but I'm going to be making some pleats. And these little dots here are the pearls, so you are going to be needing a total of 50 pearls. So I'm going to start by putting all the pearls on the yarn, so I'm going to be putting 50 pearls in the yarn. This is going to take a while, so meet me back here when you have your pearls on your yarn so that we can get started. That took way too long, but I finally have all 50 pearls on the yarn. So let's get started. So let's start by making 25 chain stitches. Okay, so now that we have our chain with 25 stitches, let's do the first row of single crochets. And what you want to do is make your first single crochet stitch on the second stitch from the hook. So go ahead, pull the yarn over, and then pull through the 2 loops, and that's your first single crochet. So let's make a full row of single crochets. Alright, so once we finish the first row of single crochets, we should have 24 single crochets. Now for row 2, go ahead and chain 1 to increase, turn your work, and now we are going to make 6 single crochets, and then we will be able to start our first purl. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is the exact point where we are going to put our first purl. So let's do that. Let's go and get my purl. So here they are. Take one and slide it all the way over to this area. And now continue doing single crochets. So I'm just going to make the next single crochet so that I can show you. Oops. This is what it's going to look like. And we are going to put 1 purl per 4 stitches, and each row is going to have a total of 5 pearls. So let me show you. So we've made stitch number 7. So let's make stitch number 8, stitch number 9, and when you work with your raffia yarn, stitch number 10, make sure to not put it too tight, because if you make everything too tight, your work is going to start curling. So work with a little bit of looseness on your yarn. Okay. So now we have 6 stitches here. We have our first purl, and then we've done another 4 stitches, and now we can get our second purl in there. And now we can make 4 more stitches. So And again, another pearl. And another 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see, we have 3 pearls. So we have to put 2 more pearls in. So this is pearl number 4. Okay, and then we put our last pearl here, and then you finish your row with your last 2 single crochets. 1. The last one may be a bit tricky, so make sure that you get both loops of the stitch on your hook like that, and finish the row. So we have our first row of pearls. So you're going to want to have 5 pearls per row like this. Now all we have to do is chain 1 to increase, turn your work, and we are going to make 2 rows of single crochets. Okay guys, so I've just finished the 4th row of single crochets, and this is what it's looking like. And it's looking so good already. I mean, I can't wait to wear this bag, honestly, and I haven't even made it yet. So these 4 rows of single crochets are going to be the width of our pleats. If you want larger pleats, you need to make more rows, and if you want shorter pleats, then make less rows. So let's start by making the first pleat. So all you want to do is chain 1 to increase, turn your work, and we are going to work solely on the front loop of our stitches. So let's make a row of single crochets, but instead of picking up both loops, you pick up just the front loop. So I'm going to zoom you in. Okay. So front loop only and single crochet. Front loop only. Okay. And another single crochet. And let's make a whole row like this. And you can see that this is what it's going to look like. It's going to start turning already, like that. Okay, so meet me back here once you have the full row of single crochets. Alright, so now we have finished row number 5. And chain 1 to increase, turn your work. Now for row number 6, we are going to do just a row of single crochets, but we are going to put pearls in it. So let's make 4 single crochets. So 1, and this time you are working with both loops of the stitches. 2, 3, 4. And we are going to put our first pearl after the 4th stitch. And as you can see, the pearls are going to be alternated in this row. It's going to have 1 pearl per each 4 stitches, but they're going to be alternated with these pearls. So let's do that. So do 4 single crochets, 4, and 1 more pearl, and continue doing this until you have 5 pearls on your row. Okay, so now I have all my pearls on my row number 6, and I'm going to do another 2 rows of single crochets without any pearls, and I'll meet you back here once I've done that. And now for row number 9, let's chain 1 to increase and turn the work. Now these pleats fold this way, so we want to create a pleat folding this way. And for that, we are going to do the exact same thing we've been doing, which is single crochets, but we are going to crochet only on the back loop of the stitches. Grab only the back loop and make your row of single crochets. Like that. Row number 9 is done, and you can see how it starts curling this way. So row number 10 is going to have the pearls. So let's start by making 6 single crochets before we put our first pearl in the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one. Okay, let's get our first pearl. And now we do another 4 single crochets and continue this pattern until we have 5 pearls in the row. So 2, 3, 4, and another pearl. So let's finish row number 10 and then do another 2 rows of single crochets and meet me back here for row number 13. Okay, so to start row number 13, chain 1, turn your work, and now as you can see, these are the pleats. For row number 13, we want the pleat to turn that way. So for that, we are going to again do a row of single crochets with only the front loop of the stitches. And I think that at this point, you understand exactly what we're going to do. So let's continue doing that. We are going to put pearls on every second row after each pleat. And we are going to make a total of 40 rows altogether. If you have any doubts or if you need help, I'm going to have a link to my blog post in the description where I explain to you what to do exactly for each row. Okay, so meet me back here once you've done the 40 rows. Alright, and a lot of YouTube videos later, here I am, I have my 40 rows and all my pearls, and you can see what this looks like. It looks so good in my opinion. So the pleats will look like something like this. You should be able to fold everything nicely and gather them together. And this is what the bag is going to look like. So that you can get an idea, this is what I'm sort of going for. Now to finish this part off, all I'm going to do is just do 1 row of single crochets all the way on the bottom of the bag. So chain 1, and then I'm going to be putting my hook in between the knots here, so these ones, and also in between all of these longitudinal stitches. So as you can see, it would be knot, longitudinal stitch, knot, longitudinal stitch, knot, longitudinal stitch, all the way throughout. So I'm going to do that and just do normal single crochets. And this is just to give bottom of the bag a nice finishing line. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. If you want to just go ahead and cut your yarn off and get ready for the next part, you can do that too. Okay. Alright guys, so now that we have finished the front part of our bag, we need to make the back. And the back is going to be exactly the same, but without the pearls. So this is what it should look like. You're going to make exactly the same amount of rows and the same number of pleats, but you're not going to put any pearls on it. And when you finish, don't forget to make that last row of single crochets at the bottom. So once you're done with that, come back and I'll tell you how we're going to join the 2 parts of the bag. Now that I've finished the back of the bag, this is what it looks like, and I also have the front of the bag here, and the next step is to join them together. And remember that the row of single crochets that we did here at the bottom is going to be the bottom of the bag. So I've also done a single row of single crochets at the bottom of this side, and that helps us know which side is the bottom and which side is the top of the bag. So you will want to join both right sides facing together. So this is the right side and this is the right side, so I'm going to turn them like this, and we are going to start on this corner. So I'm going to join the bag all the way around, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So once again, grab your hook and your yarn, and now remember we have 24 stitches on each of these, so the 24 stitches have to align together for this to be seamless. I'm going to start on stitch number 1 here, and I'm going to put my hook through only the outer loop of the stitch, like that. I'm going to grab my slip knot that I did, and I'm going to put that through my hook as well. And now I'm going to look for the outer loop on this side. Put your hook through that. And now we are going to slip stitch. So all the way down this side of the bag, I'm going to slip stitch using only the outer loops of the bag. Okay. So pull the yarn through and slip stitch. And we'll continue doing that all the way around. And then at the end, I'll show you how I tuck in the yarn ends. So choose the outer loop, and then the outer loop on this side, and slip stitch. Take your time trying to find the correct loops, because sometimes maybe it's slightly confusing, and continue doing that until you finish this row. And when I'm done with this side of the bag, I'll get back to you and tell you how I join the base. Alright, so this is what the side of the bag should look like, and if you turn it around, you can see that when you try to open it, there's like a ridge, and that's what we want. So there you go. Now let's sew the base together, and for the base I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use slip stitches to join it together, but I am going to be slip stitching the 2 loops of the stitches instead of just the outer stitches, and this is just so that I have a little bit of a sturdier base. So these are the corners. Get your hook right in that corner knot or stitch. You may have to wiggle it a little bit to get there, and then do the same on the other side, like that. And for the corner, you want to do first a single crochet, then you chain 1, and now we are going to join all of the stitches together using both loops. So go ahead, go through the first stitch, go through the matching stitch, as you can see there, pull through and slip stitch. So I'm going to continue doing that all down the base, and then when I'm done, I'll be back with you so that we can join the side. So now that I've finished attaching the 2 bases together, I'm going to chain 1, just like we did on the other side, and then on that first stitch of the row, I'm going to do 1 single crochet. And again, this is just to mirror what we did on the other side here. Now, to join these last 2 sides together, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We are going to slip stitch using only the outer loops. Alright, so now that I've finished the side of the bag, I'm going to cut the yarn. And now we can start getting these yarn ends tucked in. So as you can see here, I have two of them quite close together. So this is great. I'm going to make a knot so that they don't come apart. And I'm going to make a square knot. So the first time you do the lace, you do it in one direction like this, and then the second time you do the opposite direction. So in this case, I'm doing it like this. And then I usually do 3 because I'm a little bit paranoid, but you don't have to do that many. So now get your yarn needle, and I'm just going to weave them in to give this bag a more polished look. When you are weaving the yarn ends into your bag, make sure that you do it only on the loops that are on the inside of the bag. Don't weave it all the way through the other side, otherwise you may be able to see it from the outside. Okay, let's say that's good enough. So go ahead and cut the yarn. And let's do the other one. All right, so I finished tucking all of the yarn ends in, and this is what it looks like. And now comes the fun part, when we get to turn our bag outside in. So let's do that. Oh yes, this is looking so cute. Okay. Already this looks stunning. Okay, so you can see the sides will look like this. So you can actually maneuver them quite easily. And then for the corners, they're going to be slightly rounded. I'm actually going to try and make them slightly more square. There you go, like that. And then the other side. And now I am just making sure that I turn all of the yarn the right way. Okay, perfect. So now all we have to do is make the straps, and we are going to make a little line here so that we can actually close the bag and open the bag. Now we are going to make 2 strings that are going to close the bag at the top, and for that I am going to make them very tight, and they are going to be as long as 2.5 times the width of the bag. You want your string to be long enough to go around the bag, and then you want to have some excess at the end that you are going to use to pull on to close the bag. And I will also add a pearl at the end of the string, but I will show you how I do that in a bit. First, I am going to weave in the yarn ends because I want my strings to look nice and polished. So I finished my 2 pieces of string, and what I did was actually I found one of my knitting needles to make this process easier, but you don't need it, you can just do it by hand. And I'm going to try and make sure that I have a straight line going across with both strings. So let's start from one side. Let's say I'm going to put it right in the middle on the second stitch, second row. So if you see that, so I'm going to put my needle through there and then find the same space on the other side of the pleat. So that would be this, and then that would be there, and that would be there. There. Okay, There you go. So make sure that you look at your bag and everything looks symmetrical. Yes, you can see it looks quite symmetrical. And this is the front of the bag. So this is where you want to put your string through, and it will look something like this. So let me get my string. So I'm guiding my needle through the holes using the places where I put the knitting needle. There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure it's still straight. Yes. So you can finally put your string through the loop and then just pull it right to the other side. Ta-da! Perfect. Okay, so that's the front of the bag. And now we need to do the same on the opposite side, on the back. Once you're done with the string, get it off your hook and try and make it as symmetrical as possible. So let's put a little bit more over here. And now you can see when you go and close your bag, this is what will happen. You'll pull the string and your bag will look something like this. And I love it. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing, but from the other side. And now this is going to be easier because you already have the points of entry. So you are going to string along this string from this side, and the two ends are going to come out like this. So this is what it should look like. Oh, it looks, let's try and tighten it. Oh, yes, that looks amazing. Okay, now we need to make the large strap that we are going to put on our shoulder. Okay, so to make the cord, I'm going to do just a very simple chain and then slip stitch row. So go ahead and make a chain. This time you don't have to tighten it like we did the other time. So just make a normal regular chain and just make as many chain stitches you need to go around your shoulder, and you can really personalize the height of the bag in this way. Once I get to the end of my chain, I am going to start making slip stitches. So just pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through again, and just continue doing that all the way down the chain. Once you finish the first row of slip stitches, chain one, turn your work, and then do another row of slip stitches, but this time you are going to be using only the front loop of the stitches. Alright, so I finished my strap. I ended up doing 2 slip stitch rows on this side and 2 slip stitch rows on this side, and this is what it looks like. And now the last step of the bag is to attach it to the main body of the bag. Okay, so to sew the strap onto the body of the bag, I want to give it a good sort of 7 centimeters of length, because that will support the weight of whatever you put into the bag. And I'm going to sew it under this little piece of string here. So I'll sew it like something like this. And all I will do with my yarn and my yarn needle is sew in a U shape like that. I'll show you what the end result looks like. Okay, I've just sewn the strap onto the bag. This is what it looks like. And now, even though you could leave it like this, you could make little knots on the tips of these small strings to make sure that they don't get undone. But I think there's one last thing that I want to do, and that is I want to add a pearl at the end of these 2 strings, like this. And I think that that would look super nice. So all I've done is I've just put some string through the pearl. Now, where is my needle? It's here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have the same height. So maybe there. I'm going to put the needle through my string, and then I am going to attach the pearl onto these guys. Like this. A little bit further up, so maybe here and here. I'm just eyeing this, guys, so just, you know, embellish your bag as you think is the best way to do it. There you go. Oh yeah, that looks nice, don't you think? Okay, now all you have to do is tie a knot. Like that. And another one. Like that. And I'll do one more. You know that I always do 3 knots. Like that. Okay. So this is what it would look like. And all I'm going to do now is just weave in the yarn ends into the string here. Okay, and once you're done weaving in the yarn ends, go ahead and just cut them. So if I have to close the bag, I'll just have to pull on the pearl here, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. Alright guys, so this is the end product. This is the finished bag. I think it came out even better than what I expected. It looks so good. And if you do try and decide to recreate this, tag me on Instagram at The Hook Nation, and I'll see you here for the next project. Bye!
Okay.